Another army? No, that's out of the question. But perhaps another state. Yes, the Union must have another state.
(1864). The tide of battle had turned. On the bloody fields of Gettysburg, Vicksburg, and Chattanooga, the North at long last had established its superiority. But in the White House, a tall, lanky president from Illinois still had another battle to fight, a battle for re-election and an amendment to abolish slavery. Lincoln found his votes almost evenly divided. To ensure his re-election, he reasoned he would have to create more electoral votes. Republican supporters spread the word through the halls of Congress. A new state was desperately needed. In the spring of 1864, Congress passed an act enabling the territories of Colorado, Nebraska, and Nevada to be admitted to the Union. Carefully worded, the act required the prohibition of slavery and guaranteed religious freedom. But it also required the cessation of all unclaimed public land to the federal government and a tax exemption for the government as well. To unbridled Westerners, men and women who prided themselves on their unique individual freedoms, the concessions were hard to swallow. Nebraska held a constitutional convention and adjourned without bothering to take the matter to the voters. Coloradans took one look at the proposed Constitution and rejected it at the ballot box. But in Nevada, it was another story. In fact, Nevadans had already held a constitutional convention the previous year. In 1863, that convention had proposed a stiff tax on mining, the territory's major industry. That infuriated mine owners and workers alike. In addition, it had been rumored that most of the officers of the new government had been handpicked by one William Stewart, a powerful attorney, who many thought more of his friends in financial circles than he did of everyday Nevadans. The measure went down to defeat by a 4-to-1 margin. Though most of the people in the 3-year-old territory favored statehood, obviously not everyone was impressed by the idea. Wrote the Humboldt Register,
"The Humboldt world is dead set against engaging to support any more lunkheads till times are better. If we have a state government, we'll have more fat-headed officers to support, and if we undertake to support them without taxing the mines, we'll run hopelessly into debt."
The point was well taken. In 1864, the Comstock Lode, once heralded as the richest strike in the West, was suddenly in a slump as the veins of ore near the surface were depleted and a stock panic ensued. Residents were actually packing up and leaving. Nonetheless, in 1864, officials vowed once more to try for statehood. On July 4th, 1864, the convention convened in the assembly chambers of the Ormsby County Courthouse. And for the next 24 days, the 35 delegates, comprised of prominent attorneys, miners, and businessmen, pounded out the details. In spite of their differences, all of the delegates professed a dedication to the Union. The original founders of the country had been fearful of a central government and had taken safeguards against it. But the rebellion of the southern states, which sought to tear apart the Union and make states' rights paramount, now seemed totally offensive. The convention adopted a paramount allegiance clause affirming that the highest loyalty of any Nevadan was to the national government. The tax on Nevada's mines was reconsidered as well. It was decided to tax only the net proceeds of the state's rich mining operations. Wisely, Attorney William Stewart decided not to attend. On September 7, 1864, Nevada's new state constitution, all 44 handwritten pages, were presented to its citizens. Almost 2 weeks would pass before the votes could be tabulated, then the results were known. 11,500 voters had gone to the polls, and over 10,000 of them had voted overwhelmingly for statehood. But time was running out for statehood to be approved before the national election. Lincoln needed the Constitution in Washington. Territorial Governor Nye sent a copy by stagecoach. Then, as an added precaution, he sent a second copy by ship through the Isthmus of Panama. But on October 24th, Nye received an urgent message from Washington. Nevada's Constitution had not arrived, neither the one sent overland nor the copy that had been sent by ship. Nye made a hasty decision. He decided to telegraph the entire document. The 16,543-word Constitution was tapped out by a team of telegraphers who flashed it first to Chicago, then to Philadelphia, then on to Washington, D.C. At the time, it was the longest telegram ever sent. It was probably the most expensive, too. The cost of the telegram was $4,303.27, and that was in 1864 dollars. But the deadline was met. Lincoln immediately issued a presidential proclamation. Nevada officially became a state on October 31st, 1864. Shortly thereafter, Lincoln won his re-election and eventually the passage of the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery forever. Ironically, after all the concern and speculation, Lincoln did not need Nevada's electoral votes after all. He won the election handily, and Nevada, she was among the first states to ratify the 13th Amendment. Today, the original Constitution is on display in the Nevada State Library and Archives in Carson City. The 44 precious pages remain a living memory to the state of Nevada, the state that was battle-born.